I need advice about my situation. My husband James and I met at a college party when I was 18 and he was 22. He was my first serious boyfriend. I came from a small town and was studying marketing. James was in his final year of computer science. We dated for 4 years before getting married. During those years, James was very caring and family-oriented. He always talked about wanting kids and a big house. His parents divorced when he was young, and he said he never wanted his kids to go through that. My parents loved him because he was polite and had a good job. We got married in 2017. We used all our savings to buy a house in the suburbs. It needed work, but James promised we would fix it up together. For the first 2 years, everything was good. I got pregnant with Amy in 2018. James was excited and came to every appointment. He even learned to cook so I could rest during the pregnancy. Tom wasn't planned. I got pregnant in 2020 when Amy was just 2. James seemed happy but started complaining about money. He said 2 kids would be expensive and maybe I should go back to work sooner. I had planned to stay home until Tom started preschool, but I understood his concerns. James worked at a small software company from 2017 to 2022. The pay was okay but not great. In January 2022, he got a job at TechGrow, a bigger company. The salary was double his old one. He started working longer hours but I supported him because this job was a big opportunity. That's where he met Sarah. She was new too, just out of grad school. James talked about her all the time, how smart she was, how she had great ideas, how their boss loved her work. I met her at the company Christmas party. She was pretty and confident. She kept touching James's arm while talking and laughed at all his jokes. I told James it made me uncomfortable but he said I was being silly. In January 2023, James started staying at work until 9 or 10 p.m. Our kids barely saw him. Amy cried every night asking for daddy. Tom started acting out at daycare. James missed Tom's 3rd birthday party because of a work emergency. I later found out he was at a concert with Sarah. When James was home, he was always on his phone. He started password protecting it. He never did that before. He joined a gym and bought all new clothes. He said he wanted to look professional for work. He even bought a $3,000 watch. When I asked about the money, he said he got a bonus. The changes in March and April were obvious. He stopped wearing his wedding ring, saying it bothered him while typing. He criticized everything I did. The house wasn't clean enough. The kids were too loud. The food wasn't healthy enough. He said I had gained too much weight after having Tom. Our friend Mike saw James and Sarah at a restaurant in April. They were holding hands and looking very close. When I asked James about it, he got angry. He said Mike was lying and I was crazy for believing him. He brought up my postpartum anxiety after Tom was born and said I was being paranoid again. In May, James moved to the guest room. He said he needed space because I was clingy and suspicious. He started going out on weekends, saying he needed time with friends. His sister Lisa told me she saw his car at an apartment complex across town multiple times. On June 15th, I woke up and found a note on the kitchen counter. James wrote that he was leaving us for Sarah. He said they were in love and he couldn't live a lie anymore. He said I was a good mother but a boring wife. He said Sarah understood him and made him feel young again. He took his clothes and left. The next day, his lawyer contacted me. James wanted to sell the house and split everything 50-50. He agreed to basic child support but didn't ask about seeing the kids. I checked our accounts and found he had spent $50,000 on hotels, restaurants, and jewelry in the past 6 months. He even took Sarah to Paris for a weekend in May when he told me he was at a conference in Chicago. James's family was surprisingly supportive of me. His sister Lisa told me Sarah had done this at her last job too. She dated her married boss until his wife found out. The company fired them both, which is why Sarah came to TechGrow. My parents helped me keep the house. They used their retirement savings to buy out James's share. I started working full-time at my old marketing firm. My boss gave me flexible hours so I could take care of the kids. Amy stopped eating properly and started having problems at school. Tom became very clingy and had nightmares. My neighbor watches them after school while I work. James hasn't asked to see them once in the past month. I'm not interested in taking James back. He chose Sarah over his own children. He spent our savings on her while our house needs repairs and the kids need new clothes. I just want to make sure he pays child support and hope my kids will be okay. Update 1: Things got weird this week. James's mother called me crying. Apparently, Sarah dumped James last weekend. She left him for their boss who is divorced and earns more than James. James moved back in with his parents because he spent all his money on Sarah and the apartment they were renting. Now James keeps calling and texting me. He said he made a huge mistake and misses the kids. He claimed Sarah manipulated him and he wasn't thinking clearly. He said the stress of his new job and turning 32 made him act crazy. He asked if we could try marriage counseling. I didn't respond to his messages, but he showed up at my workplace on Tuesday. He looked terrible, he lost weight and wasn't shaved. He begged me to let him come home. He said he would sleep in the basement and do anything to prove he changed. My coworkers had to make him leave. Then I found out more stuff about what happened during those 6 months. One of James's co-workers reached out to me. She said James and Sarah weren't even that close at work. Sarah was actually dating 3 other guys while seeing James. She told everyone at work that James was divorced and kept pushing him to spend money on her. The co-worker sent me photos from their office group chat. Sarah made fun of James behind his back. She called him a midlife crisis guy who was easy to manipulate. She bragged about the gifts he bought her and joked about him leaving his kids. James's sister Lisa told me more details too. During those months when James said he was working late, he was actually taking Sarah shopping and to expensive restaurants. He maxed out 2 credit cards I didn't know about. He even tried to take a loan against our house without telling me. The worst part was finding out what James told his co-workers about me and the kids. He said I trapped him with pregnancy and that Amy might not be his because I dated someone else in college. Completely false, he was my first boyfriend. He told them Tom was an accident and that I refused to get an abortion. My parents are furious after hearing all this. They want me to send James the screenshots of Sarah making fun of him, but I haven't. His parents keep calling too, saying James is depressed and needs his family. They think I'm being too harsh. Yesterday, James sent me a long email. He listed all the ways Sarah supposedly tricked him. He said she told him I was cheating with my boss. Ridiculous, my boss is a 60-year-old woman. He claimed Sarah threatened to get him fired if he didn't leave me. He said she made him think our marriage was bad when it wasn't. The email made me angry. James is trying to blame everything on Sarah instead of taking responsibility. He chose to cheat. He chose to spend our money. He chose to abandon our kids. Sarah didn't make him do any of that. James's mother thinks the kids need their father and I should at least let him visit. Amy asked about him yesterday, but Tom doesn't even remember him anymore. It's been almost 2 months since he left. I talked to my lawyer about everything. She said James's behavior might help me get full custody. She also said we could go after him for the money he spent on Sarah since it was marital assets. I told James to stop contacting me except through lawyers. He then sent me photos of us from our wedding and when the kids were born. He said he would do anything to fix his mistakes. His sister told me he cries every night at his parents' house. I don't feel bad for him. He didn't cry when Amy had a fever last month or when Tom fell and needed stitches. He wasn't here when I had to explain to our 5-year-old why Daddy left. He didn't care about us then, and I don't care about his problems now. Update: 2 more stuff came out about James and it's worse than I thought. I got an email from a woman named Rachel. She was Sarah's roommate before Sarah moved in with James. Rachel told me Sarah wasn't the first person James cheated with. According to Rachel, James had been using dating apps since 2021. She saw him on Tinder when she was using the app herself. His profile said he was divorced. She even saved screenshots because she recognized him from photos Sarah had shown her. I forwarded everything to my lawyer. She had James's phone records from the divorce filing. There were regular calls to 3 different numbers that weren't Sarah's, all starting from late 2021. My lawyer is investigating if he spent money on these other women too. James's sister Lisa finally told me the full truth. She knew about James using dating apps last year but didn't tell me because James promised he would stop. She said James told her he felt trapped in our marriage and wanted to experience life before he got too old. The money situation is also worse than we knew. James didn't just spend our savings. He took out a personal loan for $30,000 without telling me. He also stopped paying into our kids' college funds 6 months ago. The money went to expensive restaurants and hotels instead. His parents finally stopped defending him after learning all this. His mother apologized to me. She said she was wrong to pressure me about letting him see the kids. She found dating app receipts on his phone going back to 2020 when I was pregnant with Tom. James moved out of his parents' house last week. He got a small apartment but still wants to see the kids. He sent me a message saying he's in therapy now and understands his mistakes. He blamed his behavior on a midlife crisis and depression. I agreed to let him have a supervised visit with the kids at his parents' house. It went badly. Amy asked him why he loved Sarah more than her. James started crying and couldn't answer. Tom had a meltdown and wouldn't go near him. We had to end the visit early. After the visit, James's mother told me something else. When James first moved back in with them, he was still trying to contact Sarah. He kept driving by her place and calling her until she threatened to get a restraining order. Only then did he start saying he wanted to fix things with me. My lawyer said all this new information helps our case. She thinks we can get full custody with James only having supervised visits. She's also going after him for the loan money and dating app expenses since he used our joint account for them. Some people think I'm being cold, but I don't care anymore. James isn't the person I married. That person was fake. The real James is someone who could lie to my face for years while dating other women. Someone who could hurt his own kids just to feel young again. Update 3: The divorce is final. I got full custody of the kids. James gets supervised visits twice a month, but he barely shows up. He missed the last 3 visits because he started dating someone new. She's 24 and works at his gym. Some good news: my lawyer found most of the money James spent. He has to pay it back with interest. The judge wasn't happy about him emptying the kids' college funds. James also has to pay more child support than he'd offered because the judge saw how he wasted money on Sarah and dating apps. Sarah got engaged to their boss last month. James had a breakdown when he found out and got fired from his job. He showed up drunk at my house at 2 a.m., yelling about how life isn't fair. I called the police and now there's a restraining order against him. His new girlfriend contacted me on Facebook. She said James told her I was abusive and kept him from his kids. I sent her the court documents and screenshots of his dating profiles. She broke up with him. Now James is telling everyone I'm ruining his life by sharing his private information. His parents sold their house and moved to Florida. They send cards and gifts to the kids but don't talk to James anymore. His sister Lisa helped me find a better job at her company. I make more money now than when I was married. The kids are doing better. Amy still goes to counseling but she's not asking about James as much. Tom started kindergarten and is making friends. Neither of them got excited about Christmas gifts from James this year. I used some of the divorce money to fix up the house. My brother moved in to help with rent and watching the kids. It's peaceful now without James's drama. His new girlfriend called yesterday to warn me he's on dating apps again, pretending to be 28 and single. James texted last week saying he's hitting rock bottom and needs his family. I blocked his number. The man I married never existed. He was just better at hiding his real self back then. The kids and I are going on vacation next month, our first one without James. Life isn't perfect, but it's better than living with someone who could throw away 10 years of marriage for random women on dating apps. I got closure when I cleaned out our old photos. James wasn't a good man who made one mistake. He was lying and cheating for years while I thought we were happy. At least now I can tell my kids the truth. Their mom left a bad situation instead of teaching them to accept being disrespected. That's my final update. Thanks to everyone who gave advice. To people asking, no, I won't take James back, even if he changes. He had years to be a good husband and father. He chose not to be. That's on him.